All right. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. Thank you for watching the Cali Truck Stop Theater. I'm just trying to finish up this video. It turns out it's going to be a part 3. This is the part 3. My camera phone, kind of shut down on me here. But anyways, so like I was saying, it's like I was analyzing this stuff, and I'm like, if you take a good look at some of these events, you can actually kind of figure out what's the truth and what's not. And so I'm looking at that hard, and I mean, man, just look at a lot of these different these different scenarios where things were faked. Look at remember 9/11? Just look at 9/11. That was an inside job. Okay, that was done in many parts. That was done as an inside job. It had to have been. You look at that. Those planes didn't bring those towers down. Those towers were blown up. It was classic style demolition, and so yeah, it was ridiculous. The people or the person that owned the World Trade Center complex there got a fat insurance check because of that, but it's with with the different things that had happened on 9/11. If you know and understand how certain things work and operate, you can figure out what's real and what's not. So you look at some of these different things, and you can sometimes tell whether or not it's been faked or whatever. And so that is that looked like it was fake, and that's what was upsetting me. Not so much that it was fake, but that I'm looking at it like that could have been me in that situation. That could have been it could have been anybody else. It's unfortunate that it had happened to somebody, to another truck driver, but it's upsetting to me because we're truck drivers. We definitely didn't have anything to do with the deaths of these black men. We had no connection to that whatsoever. But the thing that upsets me is that we as truck drivers are people who are supplying goods to your stores so that you will be able to have anything, everything from your food, your medical supplies, your electronics, all the things that you can think of, your building materials and stuff like that. The gas for your car so that you can be able to move freely, these things don't make sense. It upsets me because it's like, look, we are out here busting our ass for you, okay? We are often risking our lives to bring you goods that are needed in your communities, and also we are people who are trying to. Many of us have families, Many of us have families who we don't get to see on a regular basis. A lot of us are gone months at a time, and we have families, and the monies that we get, we send back to our families so that we can be able to, we can be able to manage. A lot of us truck drivers have families that we're barely getting by. So we got a lot of struggles of our own. But for you guys to come out and disrupt disrupt our work, that's a problem for me, and it makes you an enemy to me, because all the and like I've said in my videos, and other people have said it too, and it, that we all understand why this is happening. But even though we do understand why it's happening, we don't understand why it's happening. Like, why is it that you're not? Why is it that you're attacking other things? I mentioned this in my first video that, or maybe it was on Facebook, I don't know. But these tactics that these protesters are displaying are bullying tactics. They're the ones that are walking around. They're the ones that are walking around slapping the ice cream out of people's hands. That's that bully mentality, and it's because that bully knows that most likely the person that they go and attack or antagonize is not going to rebel against them. But the moment that they get somebody that that will have some balls to stand up to them, they cower down, they back off, they run away. And this is what I've seen time and time again. They're all big and bad out there when the police can't take control of the situation. But the moment that they get their forces up and they start pushing back on you, you all start backing up like, hey, whoa, hey, whatever. So yeah, it's just crazy, man. I mean, this has got to stop. I mean, and I'll say I've done quite a few videos. I don't know what video I did it on or what platform, but if I probably did it on Facebook. But I just want to say that there are many other different ways of doing or of rectifying a situation. Now, I know that the best way is to bring these people back to life again, okay? But we know that's not going to happen, okay? So the next best thing to do is you take your anger and your frustration and you figure out, or you bring your anger and your frustration to the government officials, okay? You bring your anger and your frustration to the police chief. More than likely, he's aware of, they all are aware of the type of things that are going on. But you bring your anger and your frustration to the police chief. You see, this is, and you demand answers. You demand, how is it that you keep these officers on the street when they have multiple reports against them, and many times they have shootings under their in their personal file, multiple shootings in their personnel file. And I understand they investigate to see if the officer was at fault and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that the officer was not at fault, that he should get punished for that. But what I'm saying is that you got plenty of officers that have all these infractions in their personnel files, where the officer in many cases was abusive. He was whether it's verbally abusive, physically abusive, but this officer has many infractions in his personnel file in accordance to his conduct. Why are these people still on the streets? Okay, these are the kind of things that you want to vent and get your frustrations out. If the police chief don't want to answer, or he don't want to take care of the situation, you should move to get that police chief removed. You can just do petitions. Get people to if you can get people riled up to go and riot, you can get them same people, or you should be able to get them same people to sign a petition to remove the police chief out of the position. Get a new police chief in there so he can, one that will clean up the dirty situation that's in that precinct. Get rid of all those bad cops that are giving all the other cops a bad name, and that are not upholding the laws of the land and stuff like that. Get rid of them. If the police chief won't leave, go to the mayor. The mayor is the one who's the boss of the police chief. So you go to the mayor. It's easy to get the mayor out because you can impeach him. Okay, you can impeach him. So you threaten him with impeachment if he doesn't take care of the police chief. You know, and so if that's the case, you know, you file the papers to start the impeachment. Have a special election. Same thing with all the other people up further up in the chain. You know, you got your representatives, you got your senators, you got your governors, and all these people here. You can impeach them. Okay, if you vote them in, you can impeach them. That's how you change. That's how you change things. Okay. I did post on Facebook saying this is that the rioting and the looting never changed anything. Not even the protesting changed anything. What changed was you had the right person in office that made the change, where they had enacted a new law. You know, they put a new law into action, or they restructured the personnel that wasn't up to par with what was expected of them. You know, it never was these things. Now it may have been key, or it may have been an outlet to have the voices heard, but it is never a good idea to go. Well, it is almost never a good idea to be out there rioting and looting, especially in this situation here where it had nothing. It didn't correlate. That was just simply people who already had it in their mind and took the opportunity that when something goes down, I'm about to go break into a store. I'm about to go get that TV, them shoes, you know, them clothes. I'm about to go bust up the store and go get me that new iPhone 11 that I've been eyeing. You know, that was in the mind. That was already there. That was already pre-planned and all that kind of stuff. And when that opportunity came, you took it. So that is not an option. You can protest, you know, do like Colin Kaepernick did, you know, and many others of the sports realm and all that kind of stuff, taking the knee during the national anthem as a protest against, you know, whatever. Now, of course, yeah, you had these big wigs and stuff like that, mocking and all this kind of stuff, and calling for the firing of these sports entertainers, which that brings up a good point. You see, the tactics that you should be using, they're using them on you. They were calling to have sanctions and to fire. Even Trump himself was saying the same dirty stuff. These people should be fired because they're not being patriotic and they're not doing this and doing that. You know what I'm saying? And so you know, and Colin Kaepernick, he lost his position as an NFL player, and nobody else would hire him because of his stance that he took in bringing awareness to police brutality and stuff like that. They laughed and they joked him, and they run him out of the NFL, you know, and that's messed up. I don't know if anybody else was run out of the NFL, but I know there was more than just Colin Kaepernick doing the knee thing. But he's the only one that seemed to have gotten kicked out of the NFL. Okay, but the point is, they're using the tactics on you. They're getting you out. You know how they're doing it? Because they got these organizations and stuff like that attached to the hip, or with an umbilical cord, and that's through money and through favors, you know. And so the powers that be are like, well, you know what? If you don't take care of your player, we're gonna get rid of the money. We're gonna get rid of the special favors. You know, we're gonna make your life a living hell. That right there caused the whole situation with Colin Kaepernick not being able to play in the NFL. They're doing the same. They are doing the things that you should be doing. See, you should be doing the same thing. You got, you be like, we elected you. We're going to take you out. If you do not fix the situation, we are going to impeach you. Okay? Because now the same thing happens with them. These people, these law enforcement people, these people in the governmental offices, they have perks too. They have they're vulnerable with the same thing. You threaten to get rid of them, they're going to lose the money. They're going to lose the special favors that come with holding that office. And if you give them a run for the money, you can't make their life hell. Okay? So that's what you all got to do. Stop being selfish. That was a selfish move to be doing all this rioting, looting, and all this other violence and stuff like that. That was a selfish move. And I'm telling you, it's a spiritual attack. It is purely spiritual. It's evil, because that lie was spread. Hey, and it was enticing people. Because why? Because these people were hungry for material things. And as soon as that opportunity became available, boy, the evilness came out, and it enticed many people to fall and do wrong. And you need to think about that and understand where those thoughts came from. It didn't come from God, and it probably didn't even come from you. You probably didn't even think about doing stuff like that until you got that spirit telling you, hey, let's go and riot, let's go and beat somebody up, let's go and do this, let's go and do that. No. If the first thing you didn't do was pray about it and try to work in a non-violent way to try and make some changes, just doing some of the things that I had mentioned can help. Okay? If you didn't think about doing all that stuff first, then you were wrong in the looting and the the fighting and violence and stuff like that, people dying and stuff. That was wrong. Now, people were saying, well, and this just popped up in my head. I'm tired of people saying, at least I've heard it mentioned to me before, you don't understand about the type of stuff that we go through. What they're talking about is the darker skinned black people. See, I'm light skinned, so they'll throw that in my face. Well, see, you light skinned, so they don't bother you, But for us who are dark skinned people, we got to worry about a police officer stopping us and beating us up and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that bullshit. When they look at me, they don't see me as white. They see me as black. Maybe they might even see me as Latino, but nonetheless, they don't see me as white. They look at me as black, and it's like, and you thinking that because my light skin, I don't get tangled up with the cops. Let me tell you something. I've been tangled up with the cops quite a bit. It's been too much for me, to be tangled up with them. I mean, look, I've been in situations where I had guns drawn on me. You know what I'm saying? I had guns drawn on me. I was accused of being a drug dealer. I got handcuffed. I got put in the police car. I had my car searched and stuff like that. And there was no real basis or no real reason as to why they thought that I would have been a drug dealer or something like that, and going ahead and searching the vehicle. As a matter of fact, they didn't even ask to search the vehicle. They just went ahead and did it, which is actually a violation of my rights. But I've had one too many encounters with the police. I'll tell you that within the last 10 years, I've had more involvement with the police than I've had in my whole lifetime. And that's just one too many encounters with the police. Sometimes I've had to call, but many of the times that I've had an interaction with the police is because they were coming at me. Okay, but I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this right quick. Hopefully I can get it in this this video here. There, some I don't know how many of these incidences could have been avoided. Whether black people could have avoided getting tossed in jail, beat up, or even killed. I don't know how many of these incidences that could have been avoided if the person that was being apprehended by the police, first of all, kept their cool. Sometimes you have these officers that are out here that they'll actually instigate a situation to cause you to make a wrong mistake, so that the incident gets escalated, and it would give them a reason to put you on the ground, or to arrest you, or to put a couple of sucker punches on you, or even shoot you. Okay. Sometimes police will do that, but it is important that you remain calm at all times. You cannot be out here and fight the police on the street. 100% of the time you will lose. Okay. And when I look or hear about some of these things, obviously these situations that come up in the media, they don't have the whole story told to us, as far as how a situation ended up the way that it was. But with some of the videos and some of the reporting that I have that have reported how it got out of hand, many times it was because the person that was being apprehended didn't know how to conduct themselves around the police officer, and so the police officer reacted in a way because they're trained to react in a certain way. Now, I know that sometimes that they don't all the time go along with the book. Sometimes they have to deviate from what they've been trained to do because of a certain situation that happens, and they may have to have quick split-second decision to to protect themselves or protect somebody else. And sometimes they do deviate from what they've been trained. But there are times where a situation will go down and these people will snap, and they will just do whatever, and so when you got the apprehended person getting aggravated, and you say or do something wrong, and it triggers that police officer, then bam, you beat up, busted up in jail, or unfortunately you've been shot and killed, or tased, or choked to death, or whatever. It becomes unfortunate, and it's like a lot of those cases could have been never would have gone to that level if both parties were stayed cool, calm, and collected. But it's more important that you, as the apprehended person, to stay more calm, so that nothing happens to you. Okay, 100% of the time, you are not going to win out there on the street. If you feel that you have been if some sort of injustice has been placed upon you by a police officer, then what you need to do is you need to take that situation to court. You need to go and you need to report your incident to the office, or to the precinct. Okay, that this officer works out of, and just for double the measure, you go above the police station. You go and file a complaint with the city, that kind of stuff. You put that complaint in front of the eyes of the right person, and things will get done. Okay. But let's say that you get charged with a crime or you get a ticket or something like that. You don't argue and fuss with them out there on the street. You take that to court. Go and fight it. Okay? If you feel that you've been wronged about it, wronged with something, take it to court. Fight it in court. And if you fail the first time in court, you have other chances to present your case and win your case. Okay? Now, like I said, I have been involved with the police department before, various police departments. Okay, I just told you a little while ago that I've been at gunpoint from a police officer. Okay, I could have been killed, I could have been hurt, I could have been all these different things, but you know what? I stayed calm, cool, and collected. I'm like, no, this ain't happening. I'm not gonna be one that's gonna be laid out here on the street bleeding to death or choked out or getting all bruised up or whatever. When they first come at me trying to pin a drug dealer title on me, that's when I told him, I says, oh, is that what you think? Well, in this case, I need to talk with my lawyer. That stopped all communication right then and there. That stopped them from even trying to do anything with me or whatever. So that right there most likely had saved me from going to jail and all that kind of stuff, because I said, you know what, I'm gonna go speak to my lawyer. Okay, so so you need to be calm, cool, and collected. If you let them know that you have some idea of how the law works, they'll be a little bit careful about messing with you. So it's good to get educated. Okay, this is something that irritated me too. The system is rigged for black people and other minorities, where they get the short end of the stick. That may be true. I can't refute that. But if you try and learn a little bit of the system, your chances of getting caught up in the system can be greatly decreased. So you can't just let that be. You just cannot let that be an excuse to fuel the fire of going out rioting and looting and stuff like that. Learn some of these laws. Learn how the court system works, and then also it doesn't hurt to get yourself a lawyer. If you can't afford a lawyer, start looking for programs and looking for grants and stuff that will help you with lawyer costs and lawyer fees. Now, I got something that will help a lot of people out, and I'm going to announce that at a later time. But if you need an attorney or anything like that for these situations, which I highly recommend, I have something for you. Okay, and just look out for the videos. I'm going to let y'all know later on. But I'm gonna end this video right now. So but what I want to say is, I want y'all to be safe. I want you to think properly. Okay. The Bible says that we shouldn't be anxious for anything, but pray about everything. Okay, so that's what we need to do. We need to pray. All right, pray for this. Pray for the families that have lost a loved one. Pray for those who are out here thinking or even doing the wrong things out here, that they stop immediately. Okay. The Bible also says that you can be angry, but don't sin in your anger, which means don't let your anger, don't let the passion of anger get you into trouble by you doing something that you normally wouldn't do or that you shouldn't do. Okay. There are other ways of getting out those negative thoughts and stuff like that. A lot of you need to go and talk to a therapist. A lot of you need to go and just talk to somebody that's qualified to be able to handle what you need to talk about. And there again with the anger, one of the quotes that the Bible does say that be careful about you being angry, If you see somebody that needs correction, you either correct them in love, but be careful about you not to let your anger get the best of you, because you could fall into the same trap that the person that you're trying to correct has already fallen into, or may have fallen into. So it is very important to control your anger. All right. So just try and find. All right. Try and find something, to help you calm down your anger. Okay. So God bless you, and I'll talk to you later.